There's some obvious stuff I've noticed, man. Wow, like I didn't expect that type of reaction from that video I did with about Curry, man. Telling me to take the video down and look, man. I'm just talking basketball, right? You know, we're trying to get our minds off this shit that's going on right now, right? I'm talking basketball, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to come up with stuff to talk about. You know, no matter how controversial it is, how controversial it might be. Like that's how I feel. I've always felt like Curry's a great player, but I don't know how to categorize him. I don't know exactly what category to put him in. Okay. Um, One thing I do notice about the video that I just did is a lot of you guys who hate LeBron are Warrior fans, which I don't understand because maybe it's the rivalry. Maybe it's the rivalry between the two teams. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But you guys have thwarted him time and time again. You know, like um, y'all beat him in 2015. Okay, 2016 you guys lost, but you know you guys usually bring up the Draymond Green suspension and the Bogut injury. Okay, and you know, and if this was like 3 years ago, I would get the hatred. I would get it then. I would understand if this was 2016, 2017. I would understand if y'all hate him then, but like, I don't know. You know, it's kind of crazy. Like, because then Kevin Durant came and y'all just obliterated them in the next two finals. Obliterated them. And even though y'all lost in the finals last year, LeBron didn't even make the playoffs last year. So if anything, my passions, if I were a Warrior fan, my passions toward LeBron were kind of cool. Um, the only thing I could think of is this: it irks you guys that you have been a dynasty for the past half decade, and they never talk about you guys anymore. But LeBron 24/7, even though you guys are beating him consistently, maybe that's part of it too. You know, like we had the most dominant team in the last 5 years, but they never talk about us anymore because of one bad year, one fluke year. But this guy gets, this dude who we've obliterated time and time again gets all this praise. And that could be part of it too, you know. So, but this is the thing. When it comes to Curry, when it comes to Curry, I don't understand why my position is so controversial. Um, Look, is LeBron James the most glorified player in the league? Absolutely by a country mile. Is he uh, talked about to a point where it makes you nauseous? Just over, you know what I'm saying? Just, I don't want to say overexposed, but when it comes to media attention, he's overexposed and oversaturated. It's too much sometimes. I get that. But to me, that's not the same thing as saying someone's coddled and babied. But when I'm saying coddled and babied, when I'm saying it, I'm more talking about fans. Okay, fans, not the media this time. I'm talking about fans because even though the media will talk, you know, sing the praises of LeBron, no matter how bad he plays, and if he plays well, man, he's the best player in the league. He has one good game, he's the best player in the league. I get all of that. And when they lose, it's everybody else's fault except for LeBron. I get all that 100%. But you know who counters that? Is the fans. We counter that because we see the bullshit they're on. But what I'm saying is, when the Warriors are back on top, like they will be next year, and whenever Steph Curry has a great game, okay, they will point it out. But whenever Curry has a bad game, or whenever he chokes or whatever in a series, there's not that same reaction for the most part from the basketball world. By that I mean fans. I don't see the same, like, this is the same dude Curry, right? Who, when he had that horrible choke job in 2016 NBA Finals Game 7, I saw people bringing up injuries. Okay, now mind you, a couple of games before that in the conference series, right? It was either conference series or the semifinals. I can't remember. I think it was Portland. He dropped like 40 twice or something. He looked great. Okay, but now all of a sudden, when he's choking it up, when he's thinking it up, now, oh, he did hurt his ankles. Well, Curry did Curry did wring his wrist, so, Curry did, like, I don't want to hear that shit, man. I'm sorry, like, he's the most babied, man. He, supposedly he can't handle physical pressure. He can't handle, you know, the emotional strain of being the man out there. He needs his teammates out there to be effective, according to Stephen A. Smith. Okay, although, and it's because he's supposedly so small. But Allen Iverson, who was smaller than Curry, was able to handle that and more. I'm sorry, man. Like, it kind of reminds me of the Reggie Miller versus Mitch Richmond argument back in the '90s, right? Now, if you look at team success, right? Now, Reggie never won a championship, but he did go to the NBA Finals once in 2000. You can make the argument 2004 that the Pacers could have won a championship that year if it wasn't for the Malice at the Palace and whatever, right? Okay, but generally speaking, Reggie Miller's teams were more successful than Mitch Richmond. Okay, but if you look at, because Mitch, when he was with the Kings, they sucked. Okay, they sucked. They were one of the worst teams in the league record wise. But this is the thing: as an individual player, Mitch Richmond was far superior. Reggie Miller, okay, was primarily a catch and shoot player, or he relied on screens. Mitch Richmond could create his own shot, could score in the post, was more athletic, better all around player. Reggie can get you 18 to 22 points a game. Mitch Richmond will get you 23 to 26 points a game. And he can get you 6 or 7 rebounds. And he can get you 4 assists. All right. And he was a terror. All right. 6'5", 220, a fucking beast. He was a better player. But historically, if most people would have ranked the two, they put Reggie higher because of team success. And that's my argument with Steph Curry as opposed to Allen Iverson. Okay? That's my argument when it comes to that. Steph Curry has had the pleasure of playing with superstar Hall of Fame players like Kevin Durant. He's had the privilege of playing with Klay Thompson, who has emerged and who emerged as the best two-way guard in the league for a number of years. Okay, he got to play with a bench that most players only dream of. A bench that consisted of former standouts like Leandro Barbosa and Sean Livingston, all right, and Harrison Barnes, and several others that's not coming to name right now. Some of these guys used to be starters on teams. Okay, and of course Draymond. I mean, I'll just throw him in there just for argument's sakes, right? AI played with that year an old Vernon Maxwell, a very old Tyrone Hill, a old Tony Kukoc, Matt Geiger, Todd McCullough, George Lynch, Aaron McKee, Eric Snow. Did any players really like jump out at you as offensive juggernauts? You know, maybe the best player was Kukoc, but by that time he was starting to get a little older. Okay, no, he didn't have another superstar on his team. Okay, now Toronto was ranked number 5 last year in offensive rating and defensive rating. Okay, the Lakers in 2001 were sort of they were like 20th, or they were sort of low in the defensive rating number, but that's misleading because they had injuries at the point guard position that year. Okay, they were very, very low, near the bottom of defensive rating, before Derek Fisher took over as the point guard. Because Ron Harper was the point guard, but Ron Harper was starting to get old. Derek Fisher took over the point guard position because Phil Jackson was notorious at liking big guards. He liked Ron Harpers and Jordans. He didn't like small guards. But he went with Derek Fisher. All right. And that team, if you remember that playoff run, they went 15-1. That was the most dominant fucking playoff run I had ever seen. Ever. Pretty much. That was the most dominant run I had ever seen in my life. And offensively, they were second in scoring, I believe. Second in offensive rating, the Lakers team. Now, AI, yeah, he only shot 41% from the floor. But you know, when you're the only guy on that team that could score, and you're 5'11 and 160, and you're a volume scorer, you're not going to shoot a high percentage because teams are keying on you defensively. So the Sixers, pretty much. Well, I forgot Mutombo was on that team. They traded Theo Ratliff for Atlanta to Mutombo to the Sixers. So the only other borderline all-star player on his team was a defensive player, the Dikembe Mutombo. All right. So the Sixers went to the finals pretty much based on their defense. Okay. They had to do a very, very good job of trying to contain the other team, and they had to have AI step up offensively. All right. Especially as the playoffs progressed. And this is what AI did. All right. Against the Pacers, who they beat 3-1. This is back when the first round was best of 5. AI scored 16 points, 45 points, 32 points, and then 33 points against the Toronto Raptors in one of the greatest series ever. All right, a series that went 7. AI scored 36 points, 54 points, 23 points, 30 points, 52 points, 20 points, and 21 points. Against the Milwaukee Bucks, I think that series won 6. He scored 34 points, 16 points. He didn't play in Game 3. Game 4, he had 28 points. Game 5, he had 15 points. And in Game 6, in the closeout game, he had... No, that wasn't a closeout game. Game 6 had 46 points. And Game 7, he had 44 points. Okay? Against the Lakers, he helped to give them their only loss of the series, the only loss of the playoffs, 48 points in the first game. All right? Second game, he had 23 points. Game 3, he had 35 points. Game 4, he had 35 points. In the last game, he had 37 points. All right. So AI was doing every fucking thing. Okay. He was doing every fucking thing. And he played in the era where you could still hand check. This is before they took out hand checking completely. You could still put your your hands on the offensive player. You can kind of guide him wherever you want to try to guide him. You can try to knock him off stride. You could do things physical with a guy that you can't do now. So my thing is this: if they're able to contain Curry in this era, could you imagine what they would have done to him in that era? If AI was able to cross up Michael Jordan, one of my subscribers made this point. If he was able to cross up Michael Jordan, all right, what do you think he would have done to Steph Curry? You know what I'm saying? Nah, I can't put Curry as a player better than AI. Now, on the one hand, because of his championship rings and because of the league MVPs, you would have to, based on resume, put him higher. But as an actual player, no, I don't rate Curry higher than AI. Okay, as a matter of fact, as a true point guard and as a player, I don't rank him higher than Jason Kidd. Just sorry. Jason Kidd was able to go to different teams throughout his career and improve every fucking team he went to. Shit, the last Knick team that was decent, Jason Kidd old ass was on. Okay? He went to the Mavericks as a rookie. He turned the team around that won 9 and 11 fucking games, and they improved by almost 30 fucking wins. All right. Then he goes to the Phoenix Suns. They play small ball. Okay. They weren't championship teams, but at least they went to the fucking playoffs in the post Barkley era. He goes to the Nets. He makes them a championship caliber team. They go to the finals 2 years in a row, and they're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, okay, in the mid 2000s. He goes to the Dallas Mavericks. They win a championship with Jason Kidd as point guard. Okay. I'm sorry. But stats matter a lot. But when it comes to my eye test, man, Curry's great, but he's a complicated case. He's a complicated case because too many goddamn times in the playoffs he struggled. Too many goddamn times, and there's been certain situations where he's choked. All right, he doesn't have a Finals MVP, and that's a glaring omission on his resume. Okay, I can't think of any other player, all right, who's a champion as well as an MVP, especially two-time MVP, who doesn't have at least a Finals MVP. I'm trying to think off the top of my head a guy who is a multiple-time champion and a multiple-time league MVP, but has never won Finals MVP. I can't think of one since the award's been given. Elijah Wan, Jordan, Tim Duncan, Kobe, Shaq. Um, Wade did it. Can you think of anybody that's up there, but they've never won a Finals MVP, but they've won multiple championships and a couple of league MVPs, even though Wade didn't win the league MVP? But I'm sorry, I have a hard time categorizing Curry, man. It's like I will have to put him top 25 maybe because of his resume, but I can never put him in my top 10 or 15 all-time players because it would just be disrespectful to guys like Elgin Baylor. It'd be disrespectful to guys like Scottie Pippen. Like I just, and Charles Barkley and Karl Malone for me to ever even consider putting Curry ahead of those guys. I don't care how many championships he wins for the rest of his career. I just can't put him in that same category. No, it'll be like putting it'll be like putting Elvin Hayes, because he has a championship, it'll be like putting Elvin Hayes ahead of Charles Barkley in some ways. Elvin Hayes had a tendency to fade down the stretch of games, you know what I'm saying, and not to come through in clutch situations. He had a reputation for that in the NBA. Whereas Charles Barkley, for oftentimes, he thrived in clutch situations. So that's just my argument. You know what I'm saying? I think Curry's great, but I think AI was better.